One of the most moving encounters I had this year was with a prisoner at Cook County Jail on Mother's Day. I volunteer at that jail every third Sunday of the month. And on Mother's Day, we visited because prisoners usually feel the absence of their mothers more deeply on Mother's Day. And while we were moving from one cell to the other, encountering the prisoners, we saw a gentleman who was being restrained by 3 guards. He was cursing, he was screaming, and he was visibly distraught. And the guards were considering what to do with him. And even when we came closer to him, he particularly was icked by one of my assistants who was wearing a red shirt, and he continued cursing. So something moved me. I said, I'm a priest. I can't walk by this way. So against protocol, I gave him a hug. And he wept so profoundly that he wet my shoulder with his tears. And he said to me, no one ever touched me this way. They only touch me when they want to put me in chains. So when the gospel tells us of John the Baptist being in jail, I just imagine what life was like for John in jail, being put or restrained, perhaps using the instruments they had in those days. And here was the man who proclaimed the coming of the Messiah. He saw it. He was convinced about it. He prepared the way for the Lord. And you will wonder, shouldn't he be the first that will receive the fruits of this Messiah who has come? Hence, John sends his disciples to ask the question of Jesus, are you the one who is to come, or should we wait for another? That already shows that there was some anxiety in his heart, some impatience, or some inquisitiveness. Am I right that he's the guy that we're expecting? Whatever it is, the gospel uses the question of John to reveal to us the fulfillment of what the prophet Isaiah prophesied about the coming of the Messiah. What will happen? Jesus says, go and tell John what you see and what you hear. The blind see, the deaf hear, the lame walk again, lepers are cleansed, the dead are raised, and the poor have the good news preached to them. What did Jesus bring to us? Jesus brought to us the face of a God who cares for the poor. Jesus brought to us the salvation that restores us in whatever condition we find ourselves, that transforms us to become truly who we are meant to be. The God who cares for the poor, the God of the poor, the God of the sick, the God of the simple guys, the God of prisoners, the God of those who suffer and those who are persecuted, those who are suffering, and the God of the weak, the sinners, the God of everyone in every circumstance and in every situation. I think that we are like John. Sometimes in our lives we wonder, God, are you the one? Are you still with me? We lose patience. We forget the promises of God, that God is always with us. God can restore us. God can heal us. And God is always walking with us. It could be because of our insecurity, our own pain, our own wounded memories, or when we look around what is going on in the world. And for those of us who are people of faith, such questions come in our mind when we feel that life is not fair. Because it's not fair for John to be in jail after preaching that Jesus was coming, and Jesus comes, and here was John still suffering. However, Jesus says, of all people born of women, John is the greatest. Why? Because John was faithful to his calling. John was committed to his calling. John proclaimed the truth without wincing. He spoke truth to power. He wasn't in jail because of any crime he committed. He was in jail because he spoke truth to power. He embraced the reign of God and the freedom, the salvation, and the hope that it brings to all of us. So we have 3 important messages that I would like you to take away from the readings today. The first is the life of John. There are some times when we face challenges or when things do not work as we expect or as we had hoped. What do? Take your question to God. Take your question to Jesus, and he will give you the answer that will calm your heart. Yes, John, you are in jail, Jesus says, but you are the greatest because you've been faithful and God is with you. And we are talking about John today, John the Baptist. We remember him. Where is Herod now? So, no matter the suffering you go through today, if you are with God, if you are doing what God sent you here to do, you will triumph. The second message is from the second reading from James. Be patient. Be patient in all things. Be patient. Be patient with yourself when things are not working the way you want it, or when you make mistakes. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your God. When God seem not to answer your prayers and you tend to lose hope, or you start searching for another, like some of us, from one church to the other, from one religion to the other, we're searching, or we begin to search for something to fill the emptiness in our heart by certain bad habits. So be patient with God and be patient with other people. And finally, James says, let your heart be firm because God is coming. God is coming into that situation you think that is unsolvable. God is coming into your life. God is with you. That's why the prophet says in the first reading, make strong the hands that are feeble. Make firm the knees that are weak. Say to those who are faint-hearted, be strong. Have courage. Here is your God. That's the song I've been singing in my head this week, and I hope I continue. When things appear not to work well, say, be strong. Not because of who I am, but because of who he is. Be strong. Not because I am strong, but because the one who is in me is strong. Be strong. Not because everything is clear to me, but because in faith I believe that God is coming into that problem. God is coming into that situation. God is here. So I say to you, my friends, be strong. Do not be afraid. Let not your heart be troubled. God is coming. Here is your God. And that's why today is called the Sunday of Joy. Let us rejoice because God is here. And please count me as loving you.